Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Your Disabled Joy. My name is Nico, and I use he, him pronouns. I'm a white man with parted blonde hair, large blue and brown spectacles, and a black headset. I'm wearing a pink checkered dress shirt underneath a red cardigan, and I'm seated against a purple wall and some bookcases. And like about 25% of the US population, I'm disabled. Non-disabled people might see our lives as pitiful, sad, tragic, but I don't know, guys. I've been disabled a pretty long time now, and I think there's also room for disabled joy. If I could only ever feel those negative emotions or even just one emotion, I would get pretty bored pretty quickly. However, the disability community has as many members as it has opinions, which is why I've asked my friend Nicole here with me today to talk about disabled joy. Nicole, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, Nico. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your series, Disabled Joy. My name is Nicole. I use the pronouns she, her. I am sitting in front of a green wall. I have short, dark brown, curly hair, and I have a multicolor top with like coral and brown and some green in there. I'm wearing some rose gold hoop earrings, and I have AirPods in my ears.
Nicole, thank you so much, and thank you for doing this. Can you share a joyful memory with us? It could have to do with your disability, or it could be totally independent.
Well, I'm going to share one that does have to do with my disability because this is what you want people to learn more about. And when I
Yeah.
was thinking about it, I thought it has to be almost 9 years ago now because I'm going to be turning 50 on June 9th. So on June 9th, 9 years ago, when I turned 41, that was the first day of a bike camp that I went to, a special camp for people with disabilities to learn how to ride a two-wheel bike. And the camp is called I Can Shine. They do camps all around the country. But the thing is, an engineer designed what they put on the back of the bike. It's not what people would think. They don't just get a two-wheel bike and you're on the bike, and you
Right.
actually have people running behind you while you're doing this. And it's for 5 days, Monday through Friday, and you're in a like a high school, middle school auditorium. I'm not like gym rather. So I flew to Kansas City where my brother lives, and then he drove me every day to another city, and now I forget what the name of the city is. So I was the oldest person there. I mean, I was basically with it was fine, but just to give people perspective, with children, and I was actually interviewed for the local paper for being part of that and doing that. But the thing is, the disabled joy came in because I was working so hard at this that you would have thought that somebody beat me up because I had bruises up and down my legs because for whatever reason, and it did turn out that I think my first bike, there was something with it where it was they needed to switch out the bike because it wasn't working. But I would go to tip over, and because I know what you're supposed to do, I would put my leg out. So then the spoke, or the pedal rather, would hit my leg. So I had all these bruises. And even though, I can't ride a bike on my own now today because it's very complicated when you have a disability. It's not like it just clicks in like everybody else. But I was able to do it for maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds. And I documented it all. I have a blog post with the videos and everything. And I literally cried the first time that, I mean, because I don't know what that, I'm going to cry now because I don't, never knew what that feeling was like. I did ride a tricycle and when I was, in a bike with training wheels, and I loved it, but I never knew the feeling of just being free and being on a bike, but on its own with no training wheels. So it's pretty special.
Thank you. And that does sound remarkable. I'm also someone who came to riding bikes later in life. Odd for a Dutch American, but there it is. Uh, and I remember just as you said, that moment where you get on the bike and you start moving, and there's a whole new world of movement, of motion that's open to you. it was
Hmm.
really fantastic. That was like a magical summer for me. I
Yeah.
was 12 or 13.
And I will add just really quickly that that's something that most people, Nico, they take for granted.
Yeah.
It's a milestone of their childhood. So they don't even think about, they learn it and then it's something that they're able to do their entire lives. And for a lot of disabled people, that's not the case.
Thank you. I think that's very important to point out. Thank you again, Nicole. How has your disability or your disabled experience intersected or impacted your ability to pursue your joy, to pursue happiness for yourself?
I've always been a person who's, I think, inherently happy. So I never thought about it as those two things, intersecting, because I think that that's just part of my DNA to be, generally happy. So that's kind of a hard question for me to answer, with the intersectionality between being disabled and finding joy or pursuing joy. I know maybe some people might say that having a disability would be a deterrent, maybe to feeling happy or feeling joy, but I think for me, I just pursue the things that I love. I try to achieve goals, whatever I'm trying to do in my life. And I don't, I think it's just all blended. It's like a soup, right? It's like my disability is a part of me. So whatever joy that I'm pursuing, I guess I'm just taking my disability along for the ride. Wherever it fits in there, it fits in there. But my disability doesn't prevent me from doing things that I really want to do. I never say to myself, oh, well, I have, for people who don't know, because I forgot to mention it, but I have cerebral palsy. So I never say to myself, oh, I have cerebral palsy. I can't do this or that. Now there are some things that I know I cannot do. Like right now, if you presented me with a tube-up, like good luck, I'm gonna crash and I'm gonna hurt myself. So I would not put myself in that situation because I know my body can't do that. But for things where there's a little bit more flexibility on what you're trying to do, it doesn't have to be a physical ability, but it could be anything. But I try to stay open and receptive and look for ways to do something. If my disability is a factor, I just to find a different way to do it.
Thank you so much, Nicole. A lot of people who I've asked this question to have said things like, "Well, my disability helped me find a community, and I'm grateful for that."
Yes. I'm
And then some people, do say, "Yeah, my disability does keep me from doing this thing that I really want to do that would bring me joy." But your answer is actually quite unique in that you said, "I just go about and live my life, and my disability comes along because it's part of me." And I think that's really beautiful. And because we've been friends for a while, you actually do embody that value and that approach in your life. So I see you in that. Thank you.
Well, I will say that my disability brought me to you, to being friends with you. So when you mentioned that other people, it made note of the fact that it gave them a sense of community, it
Yeah,
has done that. It has done that for me, and I'm always grateful for that because you and we wouldn't know each other, and I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you.
that's true. And I'm very grateful for that. Nicole, you've had a lot of disabled experiences, so I'm going to ask you to do one very difficult thing, and that is to choose just one thing that you want the whole rest of the world to know about disabled life and disabled quality of life.
What I want people to know about disabled life and disabled quality of life is it's not a prison sentence. I'm finding that because I'm the disability advocate just like you. So we always put ourselves out there and we talk about being disabled. That's a personal choice. People have to make the decision for themselves. But for people who know me, they know that, I talk about it and I'm not shy about that. And if anybody's watching and you don't want to disclose your disability, you don't have to. That's up to you. I'm just speaking for myself. And I will say that what I'm finding is I think a lot of people who are not disabled, they can't fathom what it would be like to live life with a disability. So sometimes I'll hear things like this where people mean well, but out of context, they wouldn't be saying these types of things if I hadn't said, "Oh, I have cerebral palsy." Like one time in a group, I shared a recipe that I made in my Instant Pot. It was a photo of a recipe, and I talked about whatever else I was talking about, and I said that I had cerebral palsy. Somebody replied back and said, "Oh wow, it's great that you're so positive." Didn't make any sense. Now, am I positive because I made a recipe and I loved cooking my Instant Pot? I mean, I was totally like, huh? I think if I had not said that I had cerebral palsy, they wouldn't have wrote that same comment or written that same comment, excuse me. So what I want people to know is that if you do not have a disability and you're looking at somebody who has one, first of all, if you could learn about their disability, if that interests you, or ask them like, hey, how does it affect you? Because cerebral palsy, I think there's what now I'm four types. Now I'm forgetting, but there's more than one type, and it affects people differently. So for me, my cerebral palsy is very mild, and that's not what the picture that most people have in their minds, unfortunately, because they're not seeing a lot of it in the media. That's something I've been trying to change for many years. But the picture that they have in their mind, I feel, in my experience, either somebody who is in a wheelchair, which there's nothing wrong with anybody using an assistive device, any assistive device, but that's the main picture they have. Somebody that's in a wheelchair, somebody who's severely limited in their abilities and what they can do. Maybe they're thinking the person can't speak because there's that component. There's a lot of components, but just kind of think about what you're saying to people. I know people are trying to be nice, but it's kind of like, seriously, really? Like, all I did was share a recipe. Like, why is that? What's the big deal?
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it? Especially that you get that comment after you divulge that you have cerebral palsy. It happens, in other regards as well. Like my disability is also usually invisible. And I'm right now currently interviewing to like sit on different civic boards here in Philadelphia. And only after I mention being disabled do the folks that I talk with say, oh, well, our board is very diverse, or we really value belonging, or we really value inclusion. And maybe you do, maybe you don't. But if you really did, wouldn't you have mentioned it before I disclosed that I was disabled? So, I mean, there is that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really value that input. Nicole, my last planned question is one that I ask all my interviewees for all of my video projects. Is there a recent win that you're celebrating that we could help celebrate alongside you? Or if
Yeah.
not, what projects have you got going on? What cool things are you involved in? Do you have
Well,
like a website that you want to direct us to?
yeah,
Let us hear.
I'm very, very excited to tell you what's coming up next because I have been working for this for many, many years. For people who know me know that I've been trying to get cerebral palsy on in the national media for many, many years. People can check that out on my website, nicoleluongo.com, and they can read more about that. And one of the things I was trying to do over the years is get the national media, like the Today Show and national morning shows, to announce the National Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day and things like that. I wasn't successful in doing that, but if you know me, I'm gonna find another way to do things. So I am a member of the Today Show's Start Today Facebook group. It has over 150,000 members. I joined last April, and for the past year, I've been active in that group, and I got recognized. And one of the producers asked me to make a 10-second video back in January that was supposed to air in a digital episode of Start Today. But unfortunately, that got pushed back. It was supposed to come out in February, and now we're almost in June, and that hasn't come out. But something better just happened. In fact, really like a couple of days ago. Every Tuesday in that group, the Today Show fitness contributor, Stephanie Mansour, she's amazing. She interviews a Start Today member on Facebook. It's a Facebook Live. So I'm going to be doing that. Tentatively, the date is set for June 27th at noon Eastern time on Stephanie Mansour's Facebook page. So I'm thrilled because a 10-second video turned into a 30-minute interview. And that completely changes everything because you can really get into a lot of things. And the reason why I'm doing it is because this is a way to get cerebral palsy represented and disabilities in general for people to see somebody's face and hear their story, their fitness journey, their health journey, and know that somebody is speaking to them, somebody who has a disability. And I think that's one of the ways that we could change the perception of people with disabilities, which is why I started the hashtag what CP looks like back in 2014. So my goal is, listen, everybody's welcome in that group, but you might hear about that group and say, oh, well, it's a walking group. I can't walk, or I don't want to walk because I don't walk for exercise. I don't go outside like a lot of the members do, but you don't have to. You can do any form that you want. It's all inclusive. And so I'm trying to bring that point home for people who might not know that, hey, it doesn't matter what you do. We accept everybody. And oh, by the way, I have a disability. Because Nico, if you look at me and you hear me speak, you wouldn't know it.
Well, Nicole, thank you so much. That is a huge win and one that you've been working for. Future Today Show star Nicole Luongo has a nice ring to it. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Nicole, thank you so much for your time and thank you for sharing your perspective. I'm wishing you all the best on the Today Show and in all your future endeavors.
Same to you, my friend.
Thank you. Audience, tune in next time and remember, I'm rooting for you.